All right, you guys, we are live. Let's get some people in the chat room. Get some more people in the chat room. I have brother Awini Baba with us today. Awini, what you eating, man? That sounds good. What do you eat?
Yeah, I'm eating some guinea fowl.
Oh, guinea fowl. That's the turkey.
Yeah. We in the northern sector, we have a lot of that. So you can see. So yeah. So yeah, I've been up and doing the whole day. I just want to get something small into my system. So sorry.
Yeah, I went to a Ghanaian restaurant in Washington D.C. area, and they had the fried turkey. It was fried, like little fried bits of the turkey.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was real good.
Yeah, man. I think that Africa or indigenous people have a lot of good dishes, and basically people. So we know how to throw it out in the American term, it out, and people are jealous of that. They want to take that away, and they come with all of these philosophies, and God knows where they got them from. But we were here first, and we've been surviving here first before anybody came on the scene. So we know when they come and they're jealous, and they want to divert attention away from the fact that they just recently came along. uh, so it's a different ball game. I think that Africa, and I've been doing a lot of reading. I want to put this out. Are we live?
Go ahead, put it out. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that Africa has benefited a lot from the diaspora. You see, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't realize. Like I live in Ghana, and Ghana gained its independence not purposely because of Nkrumah, but Nkrumah got a lot of help from Du Bois.
Right.
Yeah, and others from the diaspora. They started the Pan-African movement and all that. So I think there's been a back and forth sharing between Africa, its people all over the world. And I'm grateful that my people all over the world are teaching about Africa. And those of us here, I've learned a lot about Africa through very strong teachers like Dr. John Henry Clark, Professor Clark. I have a lot of respect for him. May his soul rest in peace. I think that genuinely he tried to close the gap.
Yes.
Diaspora Africans, and by that I particularly referring to African Americans and Africans, and we have a lot of common. I mean, but we shouldn't dwell on the differences as much as the similarities.
Yeah, and I know didn't wasn't Kwame Nkrumah, wasn't he influenced by Marcus Garvey as well?
Definitely. The Black Star Liner that Nkrumah started, he started a shipping line named it the Black Star. And he schooled, and Nkrumah schooled in the U.S. He had contact with Marcus Garvey. He was influenced. Martin Luther King did visit Ghana, by the way.
Yep.
And several others did visit Ghana. I think that Ghana represented that space, practicalize the Pan-African thought, in a way that wouldn't have in the USA, given the limitations and the obstacles by so it was a good experiment and it worked. It worked. I think that what they started here, there's a Du Bois Center in Ghana.
Oh, really?
This is a yeah. That's a Du Bois Center. Du Bois denounced his American citizenship to become a Ghanaian, and he died in Ghana.
I didn't know that. See, I don't know a lot about Du Bois. I just know Du Bois, and I think either Marcus Garvey didn't get along really.
Yeah, there was that rift between them. I think that they were competing for whose idea is the best, and that is why I respect John Henry Clark, because he put it in a way that we should understand. They were not enemies. They just had different approaches to the same problem. You see, and that's what we need to be focusing on now is not fighting each other and saying my idea is better than yours. But if we're all fighting the same fight, we should learn to get along. I mean, coming to Africa and going around and showing these images and videos and so on is first-hand information. It is a way between Africa and the diaspora, right? And come along and I have a different approach, you see, to our upliftment. We shouldn't become enemies, right? We shouldn't. I think that a lot of times we have allowed the enemy to come between us and exploit very, very little differences and bloat them up into something that really shouldn't reach the levels that they reached in the past. So that rift, Marcus Garvey and Martin Luther King, it was totally uncalled for. I think it was overhyped. Just like the East Coast, West Coast thing, it's totally overhyped. Yeah, so it's a game. And once we understand that we are fighting against who do not want to see us succeed, because if we do succeed, it means they have no more privilege.
Right.
They are living the way they are living right now because we are in an ignorant condition. Once we wake up and we take control of our resources, no more. Where are they going to get the privileges? Because the resources flow from us to them. And they take advantage and say, well, you don't know how to develop those resources, so we'll do it for you. We come together and say, okay, now we learn how to develop those resources, so you don't dictate anything. You see, and that's the fear. I think that's the biggest fear is Africans globally rising up and realizing their true power.
Yes, but in fact, we have a question in the chat room, since we're talking about bridging the gap and strengthening the bond between African Americans and Africans. How do we get that bond stronger to build the great empires that we once built before? Like we had the Mali Empire, we had the Songhai Empire. Like, what do we need to do to build these empires?
Yeah, I have a historical approach to this. You see, we need to go back and look at those first diaspora Africans that did connect because on the continent. You see, how did they do it? And definitely there were challenges, but and how can we overcome these challenges? I think that if we take the historical approach, we will avoid that those who tried to do it before us came across. I think that the what we call the memory, the historical social memory bank is available for us to access. We should not take this for granted. For instance, if my father tried to achieve something in an environment and failed, I should learn from his mistakes and not repeat what he did and expect to get some good results. So if we take the historical approach and learn, that you see, it's understandable. Let me give you an example.
Go ahead.
I live in the city. I live in Tamale,
Okay.
which is the regional capital, the northern region of Ghana. And Ghana has 10 regions. The northern region is one of the largest. It's cosmopolitan in the Ghanaian sense. Now, I don't come from there. I come from further up north, close to the Burkina Faso border.
Okay.
Right. My father comes from there. So now I think about going home and connecting with the people and seeing what I can do for them and what they can do for me. And sometimes when you go home, you get frustrated. Like you have a lot of huge expectations, and you go with so much hope, and it's not happening, and you get frustrated. But I think the problem has been that we have failed to look at the situation in Africa from a realistic point of view. We have to be realistic. We have to realize that Africa is part of the world. Africa is influenced by world phenomena. I mean, issues or concepts and so on. It's not an island. You see, so the image of Africa from without, and I mean the way people outside of Africa perceive Africa, is mostly misguided, as you have found out. It's unrealistic, and people don't understand. The issues. For instance, I would like to link up with my brother from the United States, and we get along and all that. But at the end of the day, I need to eat, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
in as much as we want to come together, do that in a manner that is realistic, and say, yeah, we need to come together and all that. But there are these other issues that we need to be careful of, that can throw us off or frustrate a fostering or a growing relationship. I will call it that, a growing relationship between Africa and the diaspora. So we need to open up, and we need to do a lot of research. I wouldn't say desktop research. I would go for more of what you are doing, going to
Mm-hmm.
Africa, or tapping into the knowledge of people who have been to Africa, more realistic picture of Africa. So when I'm coming, I know what to expect, and so the adjustment would not be very difficult. So in my view, I think very, very important for the unity and coming together of people of color, especially black people all over the world. We need to know what the issues are. People, I've listened to a lot of lectures and all that, and people say, my ancestors were kings and all of that.
Well, say that again.
Yes, I mean,
We'll say that again. Ancestors were who?
kings and queens, right?
Right.
Uh,
Right. Mm-hmm.
yeah, but that, when you stretch that argument and you analyze it, all related to the kings and queens in Africa, wherever you are, right? But you get the impression that everybody in Africa is living like a king and queen. It's not necessarily true, and I have problems with of Africa. Honestly, I think that they have been part of the problem. I think that a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them were bought by the invaders, and they gave
Yes.
into the invaders. They gave into them. They were basically trying to save their skin, trying to save themselves by selling us out.
Wow.
You
Yeah.
see,
Yes.
and I support having, kingship and all of that glamorous leadership and all of that, but we need to understand something. A class struggle. Class. It was about class. It's whether you're royalty or you're not. And if you're not, you're
Oh, can you guys still hear him? Can you guys?
not valued. You see, I can
No.
hear
Okay.
you. I can.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So
I have lost you for a second. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry about that. Go ahead.
so you see, when I listen to the diaspora, and I look at Africa, I have seen and I have been. You can imagine. I am Ghanaian, right?
Yes.
I have I have been a victim several times to ethnic ethnicity or ethnocentric, division
Mm-hmm.
or discrimination. You see, and this has been the root of the problem.
Yes.
Some people, and it's a class thing. Some people among us think that for some reason they are better than the others because they have been privileged to either go to school or they are born into a royal home and all that, and therefore us are just not worth much. You see, that is at the heart of the African problem. If we romanticize it and we pretend that it doesn't exist, it still doesn't change the fact that it exists, and we will come back to it. The issue of class in Africa, I personally investigation have found that it has been most, leading cause of our problems, including slavery. You see, because how can you tell me if you are united and you see each other as brothers and sisters? How can you tell me that you would give in to, a slave master? I know we fought. Our people fought. Some of us, detested the idea of slavery. Other people in Africa were part of it.
Yes.
When we, yeah, so when we speak of it, we are not trying to divide Africans and diaspora Africans. I'm very careful about my words because diaspora Africans are saying, and they allow people to tell them that Africans sold them into slavery.
So what happened? Go into detail, especially from a Ghanaian
Yeah,
perspective. Go into detail
from
about
a Ghanaian
the slave trade.
from a Ghanaian perspective, I'll tell you something that, okay, my mother, right?
Yeah.
My mother comes from the Upper West region. It's at the border of Burkina Faso.
Okay.
Now, the Arabs, huh? The Arabs bought, I don't know how they did it, they corrupted our people, you see, especially through religion. And religion is very dangerous in
Islam.
Africa.
Through Islam.
Yes, they corrupted them to look at their other Africans as less human.
Mm.
This is, and that's why I go back to the class thing. You see, they put them in a higher class and told them that this is the doctrine, and these other people, you have to force them to convert or they become slaves. Mother's village, you see, in my mother's village, this was the case. In my mother's village, people became Muslim not because they chose to be Muslim, they were forced to be Muslim.
Really?
People, you see, people, I know about the Nation of Islam and all this romanticizing religion and all of
Mm.
that. The reality of Islam in Africa is that Africans were not given a fair chance, at least from where I sit as a Ghanaian.
Okay.
What I learned from my mother, who is still alive, by the way, uh, her ancestors into Islam, they were given two choices. You either join or you get sold into slavery.
Mm.
And this caused a problem, a division in the community. And so when you come to Ghana, you go to my mother's village, finally they built a slave defense wall because the overall that this was wrong and they were not going to stand up for it. They built a slave wall. This is most slave defense wall in the whole of Ghana. There's no such thing as a slave defense wall, found anywhere in this village called Golu in the Upper West region, and the Upper West region close to the Burkina Faso Ghana border. You see, some people bought into this. I've seen you in Senegal. I've been following you for a long time. I've seen you in Senegal, okay. and I've seen you with the biophile people, and I respect them. What they did is to take Islam and Africanize.
Yes.
And I respect that. And that's why I keep talking about Dr. Clark. Dr. Clark said, but make it an instrument of your liberation. Simple. So we don't have a problem with Muslims or Christians, and I'm not a Muslim nor Christian. I refuse to be part of that. But to these religions, they need to realize that they need to serve God and serve their people first. Any other people before your people. Otherwise, you're just being corrupted into other people's desires. And that's the problem in Africa. Religion has turned Africans into a passive people, and there's a reason that these people coming to enslave and colonize, they came with the religious people. Education in Ghana started with the missionaries.
Right.
That is education. And their purpose was to train people to read and write so that they could turn them into Muslims. Not to enlighten them. You see, the issue of Nkrumah was being trained to become a priest. A religious priest, and he realized that it was a sham, and he turned against that. So we have a lot of religious people in Africa who their loyalty is not to Africa.
Yeah.
And even the Freemasons in Africa, we call them large members. You see, this is part of the problem. Their loyalty is not to Africa. Their loyalty is to their colonial master. That's the reality of the issue. And if we turn that around and say, fine, I will still practice the religion, but I'll Africanize it, then that'll be a good thing. And that's why I respect what they're doing over there in Senegal, with the biophile movement and the whole Black conscious Muslim movement.
Yes.
It makes absolute sense to me that we would take that and we would turn it around to suit our cause.
Brother, you are definitely dropping jewels tonight, and I appreciate that. So do you interact? Because I know there's a large Black repack community in Ghana. Do you interact with a lot of African Americans who have relocated to Ghana at all?
Yeah, I've had one or two. I've met one or two people, Africans, all of them as Africans, but repack African. I've met one or two of them, but not many, especially from where I live. You see, most people, when they come from the diaspora, they stay down south.
In Accra.
You see, and we live up north. Yes, you see, so that again creates a problem. Most people, I'm not encouraging people to move up north per se, but to travel of the country, and to understand. See, yeah. So uh, I've met a few people over the years. I've been in this for over 10 years. I mean, the whole. I've met a few people, honestly, but we haven't, hit off to anything that I can point to. You see,
But
so. Mhm.
I was gonna say, brother Awini, do you have your own YouTube channel at all?
No, 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 no. I
Man,
don't have.
you need one. You need one.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm. Have a different approach to look into this. As Professor Clark is my father too.
Yes.
And the way he put it, he said that Africa has a spiritual and economic, even political problem, and we need to look at it from that perspective. I think that our people have been bamboozled
Yes.
in Africa and even in the diaspora to think that they should not, try to change things drastically, and that when they die they go to heaven. You see, this is, I mean, this is at the heart of the problem.
Uh-huh.
You see, and we need to turn that around and say you don't go to heaven unless you give something to your people. You see, and that is my philosophy. I think that religion in Africa is one of the most deadly weapons that the oppressors brought, and there's a reason they brought it with them. You see, because it pacifies the people. Nobody wants to kill anybody because killing is a sin, right? Killing is a sin. But the people who brought the religion are killing people. Of it,
Right.
you see. So they pacify all these people, my people here, but all over the world, and we expect them to wake up and do something all of a sudden. It's not going to happen. It's going to take time, and it's happening. I think that the consciousness level is rising. I'm constantly in contact with lots of groups here in Ghana and the diaspora, and the consciousness level is rising. Not because somehow we became more aware. I think that it's because of our circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
The circumstance or the situation of Black people globally is necessitating awareness level. It's rising, and because we are not in a good situation, and we keep hitting this brick wall to make a move, there's something stopping us, and so we begin to ask questions. You see, and that is what I think is the key to awareness creation: is that people must feel oppressed in order for them to want to do something about that oppression.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what I think is moving the consciousness in the Black community globally. Because when people have things the way they want, there's no reason for them to stand up and revolt. There's no reason, matter of fact. You see? So I think that it's a move in the right direction. Things are changing, but very slowly. And I think that it's going to be an explosion across the African community globally. I think there's going to be something is boiling up. I can feel it.
Like, what do you foresee? Like, as far as the explosion, what do you think is going to happen? Like, what do you?
I think that the young people, the youth, they're very disconnected from their parents, because their parents are in revolt against the system. Their parents are telling them, do what I did.
Right.
But what the parents don't realize is that different from now. So, or that difference in experience between the current or generation and the previous generation is going to change the tide. Is that the youth want, for instance, the world is developed so far that people want all the good things they see on TV. Why not? They want the cars, they want the Ferraris and all of those things, and they're going to try to get them. And it's their right to get them. They're part of the world. You see? So it is this that is going to cause to look at their situation and try to find out why it is that they are not participating or benefiting equitably from that growth or so-called advancement we're seeing in the world right now. So they're going to look back at their situation and try to find out what they can do, compete or benefits that they see other people getting. That's what I think is good. That's what I cause the difference. I think the youth will listen more when we come with a message that says, look, the old system played its part, right? I think that our development has been in phases. I think that the Malcolm X's, the Martin Luther Kings, the Kwame Nkrumahs, and all of them, their role was to gain some level of political independence and political awareness, if you put it that way. Our role right now is to gain economic independence right now.
Okay.
And then,
so a country like Ghana, which is rich with natural resources, and I know during Kwame Nkrumah, he had the Volta Dam project, right? Was it the right? And so what happened? He used a U.S. company to come in and was it built the dam? Is that right for the Volta?
Kaiser was the company that came in, and you see, Nkrumah was trapped in a way. Ghana didn't have power, right? Electricity, and he wanted electricity for Ghana, not just necessarily for domestic use, but also for industrial use, because industry needs power. So he went around the world and finally settled. He got an offer from Kaiser FC, and the plan was to build the dam to generate power to supply it to industries, and primarily the aluminum industry called Valco.
Right.
To supply it to a chunk of the power generated by the hydroelectric plant was to go to power aluminum manufacturing company called Valco. Part of that would then go to domestic use. You see, so it was an agreement. You see, and basically our hands were tied. We had to make some concessions in order to get these basic infrastructure. You see, he wasn't stupid. He made sure that Ghana got a good deal. Ghana got a good deal out of it, and the part of the aluminum would go to Kaiser, and part of it will come to us, and then part of the power will also come to us. You see, so they together created the biggest man-made lake in the world, called the Volta Lake.
Right.
That is what began Akosombo. So I think that when you're starting to develop, sometimes the very people you don't trust, you go around and you have no choice but to negotiate some to get something for starters. It's just like you're broke, right? And you really need the money, and you pick your laptop and you go to the street side, a laptop that's worth about $2,000, you sell it for 500
Yes.
because they wouldn't give you that. So that was the situation that Ghana was in my view. He went round trying to get money to build this dam and to get electricity to the country, and this is the only offer he got, so he had to take it.
Now, didn't Kaiser exploit?
Yeah, later on in the cycle, this happened in Ghana. Nkrumah got he was taken out, and Valco turned into something else. You see, the problem in Africa has been continuity.
Right.
That's another issue, continuity. So that problem, and I think that uh, there and all the systems were there. There's no way anybody. You see, but the problem in Ghana and in Africa has been the issue of continuity and what the allegiance of the people who took over has been.
Right.
That has been the problem. You see, and I am a proud Ghanaian and proud African, but currently I'm not happy about Ghana. I have to tell you that. I'm not happy because we have all these presidents and ministers who are enriching themselves. They don't
Okay.
have the interest of the country at heart. That is the problem. You see, and the youth, we have to get rid of these people.
Yes.
We have to we have to the level of awareness we're getting to. These people, they can't deal with us. They are not the only people who have been oppressed. Let me put this out there. People who have been colonized. You see, and China, India, and all of these other places, they also had to start from the rudimentary, build up. Look at where they are today. Our people take advantage of the fact that we're peaceful and we don't want to cause problems and so on, and also the level of illiteracy, which partly contributes to ignorance because people are not exposed to things or information. They take advantage of that, and they exploit their own people. That's what's ugly about Africa. And we need to face that. We need to stop pretending that everybody in Africa is for the interest of some people. Are greedy, just like people are greedy in the USA, in the black community. You see, they hustle on our misery, as Professor Clark put it. Some people hustle on our misery. They see us in trouble as saviors, and when we give them the mandate, the chance, they end up enriching themselves and selling out. And we need to face that there are some members of our family who are worse than the oppressor. A family in order. Nobody can penetrate. Nobody.
So let me ask you this. So what can Africans do to truly hold their leaders accountable? Because you hear this story in just about every country in Africa as far as just the corruption, not focusing on the best interest of the people, allowing foreign interests to come into the country and take over. What truly can Africans do to ensure that doesn't happen?
I said everything lies with the youth. Why? Because the youth are the most affected occurrences. You see, they are the most affected, and they are the people who have the majority. People, this group, this cohort, were to wake up and say, "This is our future." These people are selling out. it can say it's over. You see, it's over. And what can contribute to that awakening is things like what you're doing, and I think that education in general, or not Eurocentric education, because a lot of people are miseducated. What can put that in check is a Pan-African or pro-Black education. And I keep mentioning Professor Clark because he put that succinctly and said that history pass. We should have a compass. You see, we that should lead us where we want to go based on where we have been and what we need to be doing now, right now. You see, so some of us are doing our part. We're trying to awaken the consciousness of the youth. They see the issues going on. They're not happy about them. What is left is for us to show them what is causing these problems and what they can do about them. So what they can do is to pull together and to understand issues. Once they understand that, nobody can fool them, because you come and tell me, you come and make empty promises during campaign period, and I look at you and I laugh and I say, past this stage. You see,
Mm-hmm.
what to happen as a result of that is that genuine or honest powers or political parties or political movements are going to be formed, and those honest political parties are going to gain power. But not only that, that a lot of reform will take place. I think that a lot of powers are concentrated in the hands of the presidency or the president. A lot of these powers will have to be taken away. You see, the arms of government, the legislature, will have to be truly independent of the people. And if the people, mainly the youth particularly, they realize that the people are not fighting for their cause, there should be processes that they can go through to remove those people. It's a system that is going to work if we call for reform and we put the power in the hands of the people, not an ignorant people who know what they want and they know how to get it. Education is going to have to come in. People are going to have to learn about economics, economic policy. You see, and we need to stop avoiding these topics. We need to study. We need to win. We need to beat them at their game.
Yes.
We need to, even if it's a charade or a fraud, we need to unearth that fraud. And the only way we can do that is to study it. So I believe that if we have a lot of discussions, these issues, economic policy and all of these policies among the youth, all experts, is going to set the level of awareness to an all-time high, and that is going to lead to action for reform, because reform is needed in Africa. See, we need a lot.
Let me ask you this. So Kwame Nkrumah was big on Pan-Africanism and including the diaspora, and making sure the diaspora was included when he spoke of Pan-Africanism. I'm starting to realize that a lot of African leaders are not concerned or even bring up Pan-Africanism as an agenda. Or if they do, they're just more concerned about just the countries in Africa, but not the diaspora. Versus Nkrumah was, he wanted to include the diaspora. Why do you think that changed, or why do you think that shift happened?
In the case of Ghana, it's simple. Kwame Nkrumah tried to bring in ideology, Pan-African ideology. And in trying to do that, he had to build an institution.
Mm-hmm.
Now, unfortunately, he didn't stay long enough. He was overthrown. Immediately, he was overthrown. All those institutions were banned.
Wow.
Listen, and it's not because the Ghanaians didn't want those institutions. It's because a few sellouts aligned themselves the imperial powers, the oppressors,
Mm-hmm.
and they were in the pay of the oppressors. You see, and that is why they did away with all that, because this is what would have empowered the people.
Mm-hmm.
So wanted to control the minds of people. So they're not interested in teaching Pan-African. I only took. I have to be honest. I took one one subject in junior high, social studies. I learned I learned basically nothing about slavery. I learned a lot about Ghana and the independence drive and all that. Uh, and then in the university, I learned nothing about this. Some courses have an African studies component. You see, so if we conscientize people about where we have been and what we need to be doing now, you see, we need to have a curriculum, an educational curriculum that an African is born till the day they die.
Mm.
Continues. You teach. I advocate this. There are two subjects that need to be taught from day one till whenever. Pan African history and entrepreneurship. These are the two building blocks I think that we should imbibe in our youth. And once we have that, nobody can come in and tell us lies.
Mm-hmm.
People say, people tell us, Africans, were illiterate until the Europeans came. But we know the truth. We know the truth because we learned from Dr. Theophile Obenga and other authors, about and how they pioneered in writing.
Mm-hmm.
In writing, this that fed into European writing. Virtually all, except Russia and a few other places, use the Latin alphabet, the ABCD.
Mm-hmm.
Without the ABCD, it means that the French, the Dutch, the Spanish, the Italian, whoever, name them, Belgian, German, they were not writing. If they were writing, it wasn't effective.
Wow.
Okay? Ethiopia has its own script called the Ge'ez script. Egypt had its own scripts, the hieroglyphics and so on. We have the Vi script found around Liberia and Sierra Leone. We have the Nsibidi script. All of these scripts, all over the country, the continent. So where are all these lies coming from? You see, it comes from the fact that we don't know our history, and the enemy can come in and bamboozle us and take advantage of us and say that you're worth nothing. I'm even helping you by giving you crumbs, chips and crumbs of take it and I give you crumbs and you people fight over it.
Mm-hmm.
See, so education is key. Education is the building block. You see, that is my take. So that's the direction we should be headed. Once we reach there, nobody can come and tell us lies and no, because we know.
Hey, okay, so why do you think Ghana is a destination spot for Black Americans or the Black diaspora who want to relocate to Africa? What's
there's a cosmic thing. Ghana is the center of the world.
Okay.
That is a fact.
How? Go into detail.
Ghana is the center of the world. In terms of landmass,
Uh-huh.
Ghana is the only land that is at the center of the world currently. You see, that is not to say Ghana unique and better than all of Africa or wherever, but that is for those into the spirituality that has some value, and it's not a coincidence that the things that happened in Ghana did happen. You see, the drive for freedom and all of this swelling on the African continent. There's a cosmic, relationship. You see, if you come to Ghana, you go to Tema, which is the harbor, you see the real center of the world.
Yes.
You see, GMT zero, and that is the center of the world. Secondly, I think that generally welcoming, we have our problems, right? But generally, it's a welcoming kind of country or environment where we treat the stranger like a king. Culture,
Right.
all over. When you have a stranger in your house, he is the king. He or she, is the king or queen of the house, and you give him your best. This is the custom, and it is the custom in other parts of Africa. But I think that in Ghana, the expression is more. Culture is still very significant here. I think that Ghana has been misunderstood. I think that, like when you travel to Africa, right,
Mm-hmm.
and you move
Yeah.
from the capital of the country and you go to the countryside, there's such a vast difference.
Oh yeah, of course.
You see, yeah, I mean, and the behavior is different. If you go to Accra, I have lived in Accra. I've been all over Ghana. I've lived in Accra. Accra is a melting pot. You don't expect to get a full experience of Ghana in Accra.
Right. Mm-mm.
That won't happen. You have to move around. You have to go to the heart of Ghana, and the heart of Ghana is the rural Ghana,
Yes.
the village.
And I don't
You see,
let me interject real quick. That's why when I go to Africa, I go to the villages. For what you just said,
yeah,
right there.
I see, I see you in the villages, and I appreciate that. I do that when I go to places and I want to have a feel of it. I go to the village. The city has nothing to show me.
Mm.
It's full of people who are keen on surviving in a so-called urban environment that has been created for them, and they do all manner of unthinkable things
Mm-hmm.
to each other. So the level of honesty is low. There's theft and all of that.
You're teaching, brother.
You know, so, and that links to the expectations of diaspora and Africans coming to Africa. They have this perception as one big village, and that's wrong. If you go to the cities, you find a lot of development there, so-called development. I don't subscribe to that, but you see a lot of the things in New York, in Accra.
Mm-hmm.
You see, it's a city.
Yeah,
So it shouldn't surprise you that you see a lot of the behavior in New York, in Accra.
Mm-hmm.
You see, because it's a melting pot, and a lot of people travel there. It's influenced by a lot of cultures, and I think the urban Africa has its own culture.
Yes.
It has lost the Africanness, even though it tries to retain that. The forces are just too strong.
So,
You see, because people have. Mhm.
so how do you, I guess, somewhat merge the conveniences of the city with the village without losing the culture or the Africanity of, like as you said, that the village is the heart of Africa. how do you kind of, I guess, merge the conveniences or somewhat city life with the villages without losing that culture, that authentic indigenous African culture? How does that happen? Is that, or is it possible?
If you look at Drive, you see there is a problem of urbanization,
Mm-hmm.
and there's urban poverty and there's rural poverty. Urban poverty has come about as a result of people in the rural sector migrating, going to the urban sector, thinking they're going to get a job or a better life.
Okay.
You see, but we can create what in economics are called growth poles, poles of growth.
Mm-hmm.
You see, these growth poles will bring about the basic growth that the people from the rural sector want to get in the urban. I am not a city person. I'll tell you this. I grew up north. It's pretty rural, you know, and I like it. I don't like sitting in traffic for 3 hours for a 30-minute. For me, it makes no sense to me, right? So what we can do is to decentralize the services and the advantages that are in the cities to the rural sectors. I follow this a lot of concepts and so on, and I think that if we begin to build basic infrastructure in the rural sector, people will stay.
Mm-hmm.
You know, schools have to be there, good markets, hospitals. If the people are sick, they need to go. Basic things of that sort, and most people they don't really want to go to the cities and hustle.
Right.
Once we have that, I think we can build, villages that or rural sectors that you know keep or retain or borrow from the urban and yet are not urban. They are urban, semi-urban in the sense that they have the facilities, the essential facilities
Mm-hmm.
urban has, but yet they retain their ruralness, their originality. So it's a process, and I think that, for instance, if you have been to Africa, I don't know how far travel, but you've traveled a lot. I have a problem with the building material being used in Africa today, cement.
Why? Why is that?
Cement is a bad it's a bad insulator.
Okay.
It hot, tropical. It makes the inside temperature quite warm. We don't need that mostly in Africa. We need the use of clay.
Clay.
You see, bricks and all manner of bricks to build houses. We don't need cement. We don't need that. We need.
What I noticed too, a lot of the cement houses, when I go to Africa that I see, they look like they have foundation issues, meaning you'll see the cracks in the walls.
Definitely. Yeah. So, but when I go to the village and I sleep in a clay house,
Okay, yeah, I think he went out. Man, okay. I think his connection went out. Man, he was dropping some good stuff. Goodness. Let me hit him up on Messenger, on Facebook Messenger real quick. He was dropping some good stuff. Are you guys enjoying this? Those that are still there? I think we lost you. Me too. Awini, can you hear us? I know you guys can hear me, but I'm just wondering if we could hear Awini. I hope he comes back on. I just hit him up on Facebook Messenger to see where he's at. Damn, I hope he hops back on. Ah, man, hope he comes back. If you guys follow Kenyan politics, I think Uhuru Kenyatta, he won. He won, so he's going to have another term in office. Uhuru Kenyatta, if you follow Kenyan politics. Oh, I hope the brother comes back. Okay, hold on. I think he's responding right now, I believe. Okay. Come back on. We lost you. Damn. So on Sunday, I'm doing another living and doing business in Africa, this time with a expat named Brandon Rogers, who he builds solar panels. He does something with solar energy as far as either building the panels and installing the panels, something. I'll let him explain it when he comes on Sunday. So that's Sunday. And then Saturday, I should be doing the living and doing business in Africa. And we're going to be in Angola. Angola edition should be Friday. I'm sorry, Saturday. But I'm hoping we could finish this off with Awini, because this is probably the best one we've had so far. So, damn. I'll wait a couple more minutes and then I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. But I'm gonna wait a couple more minutes to see if we get Awini back on. Wait a couple more minutes. Want to get this brother back on? Okay. Let's see here. How's everybody doing in the chat room? Monty, what's going on, brother? How you doing? Monty, where are you located? Are you in Sierra Leone? Monty, are you in Sierra Leone currently? There you go. That's a shame. I'm in DC, but I was born in Sierra Leone. Okay. How long? Monty, how long have you been in DC? When did you leave Sierra Leone? Damn. Oh man, this was a good interview. We just lost him. Goodness. Monty, how long did you live in Sierra Leone before you came to DC? When I was 4, okay. Oh, you're just 25, okay. Yeah, that Sierra Leone Civil War. Now your boy Charles Taylor was I guess funding one of the sides or supporting one of the sides in the Civil War. Monty, how often do you go back when you go back to the Sierra Leone? Yeah, honestly, this time I'm going to wait. It's 9:48 right now. When my clock reaches 9:51, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. But I'll make sure I'll get him back on. I'm just, damn, there's some good information he was giving. Might just be his Wi-Fi. Grilling some chicken. Black K, where you live? I'm coming through to get some grilled chicken. Where you live? Oh, here we go. Brother is back. Brother is back. Thank God, you're back. We were
The line.
nervous. We were nervous. Like,
the line cut.
Did he get abducted? What happened? You're back. Thank God. Everybody, he's back.
Yeah, the line just cut. So I just had to try to reconnect, and it was taking time. So
okay, good.
Yeah. So you were asking.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot where we left off. Any people in the chat room? Where did we leave off? I was just worried that we couldn't get you back on. What question did I have about the diaspora? Here we go. What opportunities are there out there for the diaspora who want to relocate to Ghana? What opportunities do you think are there for them to fill in and help immediately?
Yeah, well, it depends on what you're after. I think that Ghana is very receptive, our diaspora, and I think that anybody who wants to be part of Ghana or you should look into the dual citizenship kind of thing. There have been a few challenges I hear now with Trump and but I think there's still a window of opportunity there. You can live the dual citizenship life. I think it's the best thing to do. But as far as the environment, it's very open. You see, the environment in Ghana right now is private sector oriented.
Mm-hmm.
So they expect people to come in and do business. And the nature of the business, fine, that can be determined by who is coming in. But we have found that in Accra, you see, I expect the diaspora to put up money
Mm-hmm.
property in the
Mm.
capital. You see, we have all these foreigners, you see, buying up, renting or buying up all these businesses, and they're mistreating our people.
Mm.
And it's because our politicians are sellouts. You
Yeah.
see, they have all this money, they don't invest in Ghana the way they should, and they leave us to who come in. Recently, there was a case in the news. One Ghanaian lady who was working for a Lebanese kind of restaurant, I guess. The Lebanese guy or man put her face in a blender. She was blending pepper
Are you
and spice.
serious?
Yeah, she put her face. He put her face there, and the case got picked up, and finally
Oh,
he's going to serve a jail sentence. But it's a slap on the wrist because he's spending less than a year in jail for this.
let
You
me let
see,
me
we
let me tell you what would happen if you being Ghanaian and if you were in Lebanon and did that to a Lebanese woman, they would have probably killed you.
yeah, definitely. And you know how people you people use the term coons. We have a lot of coons and Negroes here.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. These people, it's not their fault. They haven't been educated enough. They didn't experience colonialism. They were born quite recently in the 80s when Ghana was no longer colonized and so on. So they haven't experienced firsthand, you see, some of these things, and they haven't seen it happen in Ghana, at the level that would awaken them. You see, so that's part of the problem. It's the level of consciousness of the people, and so the case got taken to court, and he's getting about 8 months in prison.
That's it.
He said the lady has eye
You know what needs to
problems.
happen? You know what needs to happen? Jungle
Mm,
justice. I see this shit in Nigeria in the bush all the time. You get you a rubber tire,
mhm,
throw it on them, get some
mhm,
gasoline and a match. Justice.
mhm. Yeah, we have that here. We the problem is though, it depends on where the issue happens. If it happens in a Cosmo, like in the center of town, the central business district, it becomes a whole dragon issue and so on. But we've had a few reprisals and in the system. But to what the diaspora, particularly African Americans, can do is, mm, and you can pull your resources together, and you come to Ghana and you business. I'm talking, owning a big time restaurants, where people go to eat. Accra is flowing with money.
Mhm.
I can tell you that Accra is super rich. I mean, there's a lot of rich people there. We had to wait for ShopRite from South Africa, which
Yeah.
is owned by white,
Mhm.
to come and build that. We could have built that. Even if the diaspora had built that, it would be better. You see?
Mhm.
So they came and they built a supermarket in Accra. They're milking our people. They're milking them, and these coons, they make their money and they go give it to somebody else. They don't know about keeping the money in the community. They don't understand that concept. All they care about is going to work, making their money, and I guess it has to do with what Professor Clark describes as political naivety.
Mhm.
People are very naive. You see, they don't know about group economics. They don't know about keeping the money in the family.
Yeah.
You see, So as far as what you can do, there's several business avenues. That if you have substantial money, you can come to Accra and you can rent a place. You see, and you would make money. You would own a lot. People are in the transport business. Uh, you know, People are in the hospitality business. People are in the recreation business. You know, yeah, the opportunities are there once you have the money, and I think that group economics is the trick. I mean, the Lebanese come here.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a dime to their name. Their government and their people pull together the money and send it to them in Ghana to do business.
Mm.
Where do they get the money to do business? It's their people who pull together and give them the money, investment money, to invest and pay back. Strategy. And we are here, we have Indians here who practically control the retail supermarket sector. They have a company called Melcom, and it's across country. They have supermarkets in all the regional capitals in Ghana, except for one, the Upper West. Why? They have supermarkets all over, and they make all this money. And these people are so arrogant. And the irony is, people want to work for them. I couldn't work for them, for people like that. But people, I understand, people are so tied that they just want to make ends meet.
Yes.
See, our people are victimized because our leaders have failed us to put in place measures to ensure that we control the body politics and economics of our community. Our leaders have failed. And we, the youth, we need to stop looking at these leaders. I think that in the new world that we are in, new generation, Africa globally doesn't need leaders. What we need is a collective consciousness.
Mm.
Each other. The time of messiahs and all of these is past because the information is available to a lot more people now, that we could collectively come together in good spirit and push for our development, and we can check each other. We can put in place a system to ensure that nobody for a ride. We can do that. We don't need leaders in today's. That is my philosophy, by the way. We need consciousness. That is the only way we can survive, because we had this: you cut off the head and the body dies. We
Yes.
don't need that. That is bigger than one head. You don't kill one man and think you conquered Africa. I mean, it doesn't make sense. We need a lot of people to wake up and a lot of people to have information and to be conscious. And they are the ones who will make demands. You see, and nobody can conquer that. Nobody in the world can go against the will of the people.
Yes.
Nobody. The collective can't.
You mentioned African Americans getting dual citizenship. How hard is that
Yeah.
process? How hard is that process to become a Ghanaian, to become a Ghanaian national? And can you explain? I think it's called the right to abode policy. Can you explain that?
I can give a gist about that. Honestly, I'm not. I wouldn't know all the details, but what I can tell you is this: I watched an interview. Ghana is home to a lot of people from the diaspora. I watched an interview between Kwesi Pratt. This is a famous Pan-Africanist in Ghana. He has a TV station called Pan-African TV, and he interviewed uh, Muhammad, I think, from the Nation of Islam. Nation of Islam, and he is a dual citizen. He came here and he got his dual citizenship. Uh, uh, you know, and I think it's quite open to. I think that people get frustrated when things don't move fast enough for them, and we experience it here too. Look, the bureaucracy is so frustrating. You want to get the slightest thing done, you have to wait very long for some lazy public official to do what he's doing and come and attend to you. And that's the system. It's sad, but that's the system. Don't think that Ghanaians are treated differently from you. That's a misconception. We go through the system too, and we revolt against it. We make our voices heard. So as far as dual citizenship, I think the doors are still open. I think the problem could be in the United States. I was reading something about Trump not encouraging it and discouraging people and compelling people to choose one. They tell you can't be an American and a Ghanaian at the same time. You have to choose one. I don't know how concrete that is. I have to do more reading about that. But I saw something of that nature on the internet quite recently, But as far as the Ghanaian side, arms are open to people. I heard, for instance, people. I'm a follower of, Dr. Sebi.
Yeah, no, Dr. Sebi.
Now, Dr. Sebi talks a lot of negative about Africa and says he been to Ghana and he couldn't penetrate. But I'll tell you what, Aila Africa,
Okay.
uh,
Mhm.
he is licensed to operate in Ghana. So how
Wow.
come? How come that Dr. Laila Africa is licensed to operate in Ghana, could not operate in Ghana? What I draw, the conclusion I draw from it is that Dr. Sebi expected things to move quick and smooth, and he wasn't getting that. You see, and that's the problem. We need to put aside our expectations.
Right.
When you're coming from the diaspora, you need to expect anything. And if you have no expectations, you can't be disappointed. That is what we need to do. So we need to put aside those things. There are lots of things that can delay the process of gaining dual citizenship and so on. But I know it's there. People are here from Jamaica. You go to Abri, from it's close to Accra in the eastern region. This is a very nice area in Ghana. Lots of mountains, there's rainfall and all of this. And we have a lot of Jamaicans staying there. Bob Marley's wife lives in Ghana most of her life,
Oh, that right.
And yeah, and so we need to that the system is not good, but if we want to achieve what we set out to do, then we have to just be a little bit more patient. That's all I can say about that.
Now, as far as living in Ghana, in Accra, from my understanding, the cost of living is expensive. Like it costs a lot on real estate and
yeah, definitely. And that's one of the areas once you're talking that the diaspora can go into is to real estate development. We have a lot of companies coming and building estates, and then they're selling them or renting to other people. Yes, I used to live in Accra. I used to live in the center. I paid, let me see, 80 CDs, an average of, okay, less than $100, $50 per month.
$100 per month for rent.
Yeah, but it depends on where you stay. Like I had one room. I shared the bathroom with other people on the floor. I was living on a two-story, two-story building. I was living on the top floor. I shared the facilities like the bathroom and the kitchen with two other people, and I paid this. And I think that most people, when they come to Africa or Accra, they want the most expensive place. I think there are grades. there are different pricing grades, and most people don't do the research enough, and they end up getting a really expensive place. I think that I've lived in places, for instance, I paid 1 year for let me see, about $70 in Accra, 1 year.
$70 for 1 year.
Yes, and it's because it's not at the center. Everybody wants to live at the center. You see, I lived close to the Ghana University of Ghana, Legon. I lived close to that, a bit off from there, and I was living in a simple house. It was just one room. The bathroom and the washroom was outside. But that's what you get for $70. So I think expectation, the luxury, the price in Accra, and who to. You need to research a little bit more about places to stay and so on. But it varies. It varies. It's not super expensive. I looked up rent in New York, and for about $400-500. It's
more than that. Oh,
yeah, much more. But you wouldn't get that in Accra. I have a brother who rented a place for I think 2 years in Accra, and he paid let me see, about $700, and this is because the place was a bit nice, and there was water and all of these things. So it depends on what you want. If you want to live in a mansion, all that, you have to pay for it. But if you want to live simple, like most of us live simple, it's affordable. It's relatively more expensive than other parts of Ghana.
Now, for those interested in getting involved in real estate in Accra as an outside investor, how would they go about doing that? Who should they contact? How does it work?
Land ownership in Ghana is a bit complicated. The land is owned by the people, by the government. You see, the government, when it needs to build, let's say, a hospital,
okay,
it needs to go to the chief or to a family that owns the land, or an individual that owns the land, to lease the land, to purchase the land, or lease it. Now, if you come from the diaspora and you want to go into real estate, you need to talk to the people who own the land, an institution, unless of course the government has bought some land and they're selling. That rarely happens in Ghana. But you need to talk to the chiefs, you need to talk to the families, and they are the ones who get money for the land, and then you follow up to the lands commission. There are two institutions. The institution of stool lands. You should go and register it under the stool lands, and then you go to the lands commission to check whether the land is not in the way of some government future, like a road is not scheduled to pass through there, or a hospital or something. You check that, and then you can proceed to develop the place.
What now? I know you're working on some personal projects. Can you go into detail about what you're working on? And
yeah. I mean, I basically, I'm tired of people. I hear a lot of people talk about what they want to do, and how some great ideas that they want to put into our system and see change, and basically what prevents them from doing this is that they don't have the finance.
okay,
Now I come in and I say, well, we need to have an approach that tackles finance head on. We need to stop talking about building real estate if we don't have the money. We need to stop talking about that. We need to start talking about how we're going to make the money and make that the center. You see? So my approach is to rally the youth and get them to put in a quarter of their money on a monthly basis that we can pull together and invest in big business. And so, what right now we are working on, myself together with others, is the $1 project.
Okay.
The $1 project basically is like group economics. We're trying to encourage young people in Africa and in the diaspora to pay $1 a month, a consolidated fund or account system that we can pull together and invest, basically. You see, and if we do that within the space of 1 year, we'll be so rich. For instance, in Ghana, we're about 27 million.
Okay.
Mhm. Let me take a conservative figure. About 10 million of that consists of the youth. 10 million.
Mm-hmm.
And most of the youth will be able to put up $1. $1 is about 4 Ghana cedis. We'll be able to put up 1 Ghana cedi, $1, which is 4 Ghana cedis in a month. If we pull that together, we have $10 million in just 1 month.
Mm-hmm.
You see, and you do the math. You how much would we have in a year? And this is all hypothetical. I mean, I'm doing some estimates here, but imagine if we were to come together and stop talking all this Facebook warriorship, because it helps. It helped me and all that. But you get to a stage where you're just tired of sitting behind your computer and talking.
Right.
It plays its role, but it has its limits. So if we can be doing that and contributing. We need to take responsibility. So if we pull that money together, a year, we would have not less than 100. I'm talking about Ghana alone, not less than $100 million.
Mm-hmm. Now Louis Farrakhan was doing something similar as well, as far as Black people putting aggregating our resources together as far as the money building. And I know he was asking for like $1, a month.
Yeah,
all Black Americans $1 a day or something like that. So,
but we want $1 a month, and we want something that people can afford.
Right.
We want to use this to show people how they can hold their leaders accountable. So you put in the money, and we show you, we publish the account every month. You see, we let you know how much has come in every month. How many? You see, in the spirit of transparency, how many people do that? People, there's so much secrecy, and that's why our people don't trust us.
Right.
They take money, and they're so they don't want to be open and show people what is going on. But if you take money from people, they deserve to know how much you have aggregated.
Right.
And on a monthly basis, or at a agreed upon frequency. So we want to show people how they can hold their leaders accountable. So we show you the account, which is there, and nobody's going to take a penny, because we put in place a system where nobody is no group can just go and sign. We broaden the signatory system and say, unless people from all these constituencies append a signature, Nothing can be removed.
Mm-hmm.
You see? And we do that. And before anybody signs for anything, they need to make a public announcement to their constituency and tell them, I have been asked to sign for such and such and such. You see? So we can put in place systems to ensure transparency and accountability. And with that money, look, MTN, I'm talking to you and I'm spending money on data, you know, and this money is going to MTN, which is it's not owned by an African. It's not African. Are the ones milking us. They are the ones who make the money. You know, most of us, I spend not less than 20 CDs in a week on bills. Let me put it that way. Telephone. I spend not less than 20 CDs, not less than 20 CDs. You know, let's say about $5. I spend not less than $5 a week in Ghana on telephone bills, and we have a prepaid system. You buy your credit. You don't have a bill. They don't bring you a bill at the end of the month and say this is how much you owe. When you need,
you buy as you go.
Credit or whatever as you go. And these are the people making the money. So we are saying, what if we put up enough money, and the diaspora can come in this point, put up enough money, our telecommunication company, you know, or buy out a telecommunication company in Africa, make money and use it to help ourselves. You see?
Yeah.
So in terms of investment, it's a matter of brainstorming. We sit down, we brainstorm all the sectors of the economy, the spectrums of the economy, and we will find areas profitable enough given. So we need to stop talking and start doing.
Absolutely. Where can people find information on your project? Can you shout out your Facebook page or website? And I'll make sure I'll post everything as well in the description area.
Yeah, I have a Facebook. You know my Facebook ID. Look for African Youth Party. African Youth Party. PATRTY. You know,
African Youth Party.
and yeah, that is we started it as a political movement. Like I said, the youth. You see, they are with the power. No one else. You see, and so if you go on and you communicate with us, what we're doing now, we want to let me put out this. Through my studies, I found out that human beings, they buy into ideas better if they are part of the idea.
Yes.
Or program formation. So we did not want to be in a hurry to, let's say, I'll give you an example. You're in Atlanta, Georgia, right?
Yes, sir.
I come to you and I say, this is what you need to do. Here's the plan. Here's the policy. You may buy into it, but you may not buy into it as wholeheartedly as you would have, you know, if you were part of the formation. You see? And we need to realize this. We want to give people a chance to be part of the formation of the plan. And that is very important for buy-in or winning hearts. You see? And once we do that, a lot of people will feel like it belongs to them. I don't want people, let me put it out. I hatched the idea, but that is immaterial, because if I go on saying, this ego trip, saying, it's my thing, no, nobody is going to sign up to it. Here's the idea, let's develop it together. Then people are going to come in and say, okay, then let's do it this way or that way. And when we feel like, yes, I was part of this, and that is what a strategy of participation we need to adapt and use. Participation is very important for buy-in. People don't want you to come to their community with a plan, a foolproof plan, and say, here, this is what you need to do. Like I said, we don't need leaders now. We don't need saviors. This time for saviors is gone. We need to save ourselves, and we can all do it if we participate in the planning and the execution of plans. Do that by pulling together, discussing, charting a way forward, and committing to the way forward. That's all we need to need a savior anymore. We don't need one person to run into a problem and then the whole movement falls apart. We need a system that is rooted within the minds of the people. Then you have to kill all the people to get rid of it. That's what we want. We don't want people to cut off the head and the body falls. No. We want several heads now.
Now,
and so.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish. Go ahead.
And so I wanted to tie that in with the state we are right now. I just recently finished my my BSc, in development management, and so what we are doing right now is rallying the support. You see, look, you can go on to Facebook right now. You picked up an idea, create a group, and you bring all your friends into the group, and the group can grow, huge within a short time. But ask yourself, what is the commitment of the members of the group? It's very low. I find so many groups. Look, I'm part of Pan-African movement, worldwide Pan-African movement, African psychology, all of these groups. It's in the thousands, tens of thousands. Now, at any point in time, you go in there and there's just, less than 10 people participating. That's not what we want. We don't want a mass movement. We want a mass consciousness. We don't want a crowd. You see, so that's why if you go on there, our membership is is getting to 2,000. It's immaterial. You should be asking, what are those 1,000 and odd people doing in there, waiting for us to tell them what to do, or the part of the process? And that's where we need to get to as African people. We need to stop wanting to be messiahs. If America, if America should kill Vladimir Putin now, that Russia is going to collapse? No, it's never going to collapse. They have a system in place. Putin is just a PR. I put it. He's just a PR of that system. That's what we need. We need a system. We need leaders, because I have found that the leaders can be bought.
Yes.
Look, the leaders can be blackmailed. Some of them, it's not their fault. Look, the oppressors can blackmail our leaders. They can dig up dirt on our leaders and use that to blackmail them, and they won't tell us. So we need to stop relying on messiahs and leaders. That time is past. They gained economic freedom for us. We need political. We need the economics, and the economics is going to come from the group, not the leader. You see? So that's what we are focusing on now. We're trying to push the concept that, look, stop complaining, and let's do this. Let's do this. $1, you can afford it. These are the reasons why you should do it, and that's why we go from the consciousness level that's given the history, and opening people's eyes to the reality they're faced with, because our people do not know the reality of their problems. They're blinded, the wrong people. We don't know the root causes. So we're trying to show them that, and we're trying to show them the way to get out of that. I feel is to raise enough money. Look, if you people in the diaspora were to pull your heads together and forget all this Nation of Islam, NNACP, division and all that, and to just put your dollars together, you would have billions, and you would become a world power. People will have to, because when people pull enough of that quantum together, the world is going to have to come to them and watch, and that's what people are scared of, and we need to stop complaining. Complaining has never solved any problem. We need to start doing.
Absolutely, and I agree wholeheartedly with everything you just said, man. It's all about us doing the work as a collective.
Yeah, that's the only way. Look, let me give you a scenario. We have Oprah Winfrey. She's rich. We have all these basketball players, rich people. Why aren't they pulling together to help the black community? Because they're being paid.
They can't.
Their hands are tied. If they do that, they're going to go broke overnight. The very people who put them there, they put them there to create the impression, to give us the impression that we can succeed and we should all be like these people. And we're in a bucket like crabs, pulling each other down, trying to be like these people. And the reality is, very few of us can be like these people. This, ideology, a false goal that we all want to reach. Look, I like rap, and I like rap, and I like music in general. But look at our youth. It's not only in America. Everybody wants to be a rapper.
Right.
You come to Ghana, everybody wants to be a musician.
Okay.
For generalizing, but I'm saying that's how serious it is. Many people think the way to escape is to be like these idols that other people gave us. We didn't create them. Other people made them. And these people.
Absolutely. Brother, I know you had some questions in regards to Dogon country. Let me answer. Yeah. I can answer some of that, and then also I'll get you in contact with Mikkel, my brother in Mali. But I'll go ahead and answer questions, and then I'm not a night owl like you. I can't. Well, I get up early. I'm a morning owl. Like I wake up every morning at 4:30, but I got to get to bed like around 11. So I'm gonna answer your questions, and I was gonna shut it down for the night. But go ahead, brother. Ask what you had to ask about what questions you had about Mali, and I could definitely the Dogon. I could definitely guide you on that.
Yeah, I've been searching for a spiritual system that speaks to my background, that I can tap into. So I read around a lot, Voodoo, Ifa, and the Dogon system and all that. And, I relate to the Dogon more because our languages are similar. We live around the same area, even though they're in Mali and we're in the north of Ghana, but our climate is basically the same. Our language is very, very close. I hear some words they speak. Our culture is quite similar, but they have something that I think that I need and we need is an understanding That is my problem with African spirituality, is that I need to structure it and to get an understanding of where everything fits.
Okay.
You see,
Mm-hmm.
Ifa has a very organized system. Vodou has a very organized system. But I'm more interested in the Dogon because relate to that more.
Okay.
You know, so I wanted to ask, what was your impression, about the Dogon generally?
I think one, they're very just, how can I put it, in simple people. I think a lot of times what happens, especially for some reason with the Dogon, a lot of people especially in the conscious community, they like to romanticize
Yeah.
Dogon. And so when I started asking questions in regards to what a lot of people in the conscious community considered as fact with the Dogon, it was like, nah. I mean, they did map out the stars, but a lot of people say that the Dogon, they will fly around in spaceships and all this other stuff, and they were like, no. I mean, they believe they came from the stars, from the heavens, but how they got down here, they don't know. It's just the ancestors did it. I would say this as far as the spirituality part. They practice animism. And what makes animism unique as far as how the Dogon practices is that each individual family has their own way of practicing animism for their specific needs. So, when you deal with Christianity, it's pretty much one set book for everybody they should follow. All Christians should follow. When it comes to Islam, Muslims should follow this book, even though you have different interpretations somewhat. But with animism, each family practices their own form of animism, and I thought that was interesting. And then I was going to also say, because when you have brought it up, I mean, you're in Ghana. How far are you from Benin?
It's quite close. I can the Togo border up north. It's about from my border to Benin. It's about less than 6 hours.
How far are you from Ouida, do you think?
That is down south. Down south is along the Accra plain. So it's about 15.
Wow,
I'd have to go.
that's
I'd
long.
have to go to and then go there.
Okay.
You see?
Yeah, because I was going to say, you might want to check out Ouida, check out Benin, and the Fa, the voodoo. But I definitely, in fact, let me do this, brother. Are you on WhatsApp?
What's up?
Let me are you on Viber too, or by chance, or?
I have Viber, I think.
Okay, I'm about to message you right now my phone number, and I will get you in contact with the brother in Dogon country.
Yeah. I when you want to embark on a journey, you want to talk to people who have been on that journey. You see, and that's why I want to know from you, because I had several people say different things about the Dogon. I think a lot of changes have taken place. I first heard of the Dogon when I read a book by a French anthropologist, Marcel Graal or something of that nature. And he wrote about the Dogon and the Sirius star system. And I think pretty much he is the one who exposed the Dogon to the outside world as people with knowledge of the stars. I think that there are other African groups with this knowledge who are just so secretive.
Yes.
That keep things to themselves. And it just so happened that the French anthropologists went to this group and unearthed information. But I have read his book, and I like the structure, of of the Dogon system. I'm not, you see, I have my own traditional system too in Ghana, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to look at my system. You see, I want to use that as a lens. And what I mean is it's so expansive that I want to see where it's in. You see?
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So for the most part, already practice animism for the most part.
Yeah, I come from that background. My dad was big in it. My ancestry is big in it, and my dad was big in it. Yeah, definitely. I definitely don't want to be a Christian or Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Unless it's one of those revolutionary, the Baifal and these people in Senegal and so on. But basically, I prefer to go through my ancestors. This I feel more secure going through my ancestors and seeing what I can do with that. Perfect. I'm only saying that if I am to grow, I have to grow from home.
Absolutely. Brother, is there anything else you want to say in closing, or anything else you want to share with the people before we close out?
How many? I have a lot of people. There are a lot of people in the chat room.
There's 22. It's a nice intimate
yeah. Yeah, I want to say hi to everybody, and I want to reassure people that those of us here have not forgotten about you, and we would encourage you not to forget about us. And I think that we are one people. Let's not be blinded by our immediate situation and need to survive. Let us see how we can work together. There's a lot to be gained if we work together. And I hope that we can foster a kind of relationship that is beneficial to both of us in the near future. I wanted to ask, do you practice spiritual system?
Not yet. Basically, it's kind of like you. I just have my own. I might as well be an animist. As far as my spiritual system, it's somewhat my own as far as the meditation, the visualization. Of course, I include honoring my ancestors in it as well. So it's my own, but I plan on. This is what I want to do. I want to incorporate voodoo with the Sufism or the Islam in Senegal by the Baifal, like that African Islam, and like incorporate it and somewhat find a way to mix it. Me personally.
Yeah, I mean, let me ask you quickly.
Go ahead.
Have you experiences spiritually in your travels? Like, you would go places and people would divine for you, and like, what is your experience with, like, your personal experience with, like, divination, or let me just say your overall assessment of the power or authenticity of the systems, the groups you visited?
I would say this. I haven't witnessed much, but just me personally, when I'm amongst, I can tell when I'm amongst very powerful spiritual people, and just the energy and the aura that comes off. And then also too, like when I go to Dogon country and I'm out actually in Dogon country, like I feel like I'm at home. And just like this energy comes on me, and it's so powerful. I feel so powerful when I go to Dogon country. When I was in Ouida for the Voodoo Festival, I just felt powerful. Like the ancestors were just walking alongside me. Same thing when I go to tuba or with the bifal for maga. You know, I just feel like the ancestors were just with me. That's the kind of like the divination that I feel when I'm just among these people, in the same presence of these people, amongst them. That's how I just know that when I'm in Dogon country, around the animism, when I'm at the Islam, the African Islam in Senegal and Tuba, or when I'm in Ouida for the voodoo, just the energy I get, it's like this is supposed to be our religion, and I just tap into it because you don't feel I don't feel anything else like that. Awini, you still there? Did you shut off? I think we lost him. Mandy, I'll hold on. Let me put his information here right now because I'm gonna go ahead and shut down. It's almost 11 o'clock out here, and I gotta have to get up early. So just sending this message off real quick. Dynasty, may the ancestors bless you for this work, fam. Thank you for all the hard work and sacrifice you have put in so far. I've been following your videos for a while. Great work. Learning arms, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let me put his contact information in here. Hold on one second. Monty. Let's see here. Because we lost a brother, but I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. But let me put his contact info in here. What's his brother's link, man? About. Here we go. Hold on one second. But this is his name on Facebook. If you guys want to look him up, it's let me spell it right. This is his name on Facebook. Awini Baba. You guys hit him up. Yeah, and learning arms, please share the videos. But fam, I love you guys. Thank you for coming on tonight. I'll be back on. I might come on tomorrow. I doubt it, but definitely Saturday morning. I'll be on Saturday and Sunday. So people, thank you so much. Make sure you go to Search for Uhuru on Instagram. Like the pics, follow me, and then Search for Uhuru on Facebook, Snapchat, and Twitter. If you're not subscribed, if you're on here, please subscribe. And then also go to dynastymirror.com, go to searchforuhuru.com, and then also go to amazon.com, search your name, Dynasty Mirror, buy some books, please. And that's his name, Awini Baba. I'll also put his link and his programs in the description box of the description of this video. People, I appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Till next time, the Kapitan Don, Dynasty Mirror, Search for Uhuru. I'm out. Peace.